Let me give a final try and see whether my camera works.
Yes, yes, yes.
I'm very sorry, guys.
No problem.
Not sure, otherwise I'll have to restart my machine. Typically in Teams, it works well. Let's check.
Okay, maybe first time you're trying with the, yeah, it's visible now. No
Oh, okay. I am not visible to me, but am I visible to you?
You are
okay.
visible. Yeah, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Students,
Okay.
please start. Yes, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Right. Students, please start your.
Morning to one and all present here. On behalf of Department of Management Studies, Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering, I'm Nishant, that is Rudresh and Ambika, we, the student executives of Business Analytics Club, welcome you all to CK Prahalad Lecture Series, an initiative undertaken by Department of Management Studies to provide the students to interact live with industry professionals so that they can gather basic knowledge and understanding about the necessary vital skills required by the industries. Today, we have with us Mr. Gopalan Uppiliyappan, Head of AI, Center for Excellence, Intel Corporation, and also Head of AI Parivartaks and NASCOM initiative here to interact with us. I would now request Student Executive Mr. Rudresh to introduce our guest to the audience.
Good morning, sir. Good morning, everyone. Mr. Gopalan is a management graduate and alumni of IIM Bangalore and completed his graduation in BE from PSG College of Technology. He currently holds the designation as Head of AI, Center of Excellence, that is COE, at Intel Corporation. In his current capacity, he is responsible for delivering transformational AI capabilities for Intel's supply chain and product development functions. The COE focuses on delivering value by integrating artificial intelligence and machine learning models in decision-making workflow, offering AI as a self-service and democratizing AI. Mr. Gopalan contributes on pro bono basis to NASCOM, PMI, and CII in AI space. He currently is also the head of AI Parivartaks, a NASCOM-led initiative to bring together passionate individuals who would be ready to contribute for the AI mission of our nation. He is also a member of AI Digital and Robotics Forum of CII India. He is an avid reader and has always believed in learning and updating new skills. He has to his credit certifications and degrees from Stanford, MIT, Imperial College of London, and many more institutes. Currently, he is also pursuing Master of Science from Georgia Institute of Technology. We welcome you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rudresh. I welcome our principal, Dr. CPS Prakash, to this session. I request our HOD, Dr. KG Hemalata ma'am, to welcome our guest speaker, Mr. Gopalan Uppiliyappan.
Yeah, thank you. Good morning, respected dignitaries. Our guest of today, Mr. Gopalan Uppiliyappan, our principal, Dr. CPS Prakash, professors from various colleges, my dear students. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome you all to today's event. CK Prahalad Lecture Series is an interaction with the industry leaders and intellectuals across the industry segments to share their experience of being lead businesses. This webinar is organized by Department of Management Studies, Dayanand Sagar College of Engineering, to give a kind of experiential learning for our students. I extend my warm welcome to today's guest, Mr. Gopalan Uppiliyappan, Head AI Center of Excellence, Intel Corporation, and also Head of AI Parivartaks, a NASCOM initiatives, and also welcome our principal, Dr. CPS Prakash, who have been supporting and guiding us throughout our journey. And I especially welcome our guest for the reason he's amidst of his busy schedule, he's give us time out and coming forward to share his experience with the budding managers. I also welcome all the faculty member and other participants to join us to learn the new insights from AI related things. Welcome each and every one of you.
Thank you,
ma'am. Thank you, sir. Before proceeding, I would request the audience to ask any question you have at the end of the QA session. Thank you.
Respected sir, before we proceed with some important questions about the trends in artificial intelligence, we would like to know something about you, sir. After engineering, by your perseverance and hard work, you choose to do MBA at one of the premier institutes in the world, the IIMB. Talk us through your journey and how MBA aspired you into the field of analytics.
Sure. First of all, uh, thank you very much to the Anand Sagar institution and to all of you for inviting me to join this session. Somehow I always used to feel that after Dr. Abdul Kalam, there was no one who could inspire the students and lead them to dream bigger and bigger. That's why, I started interacting with the students in BMS College of Engineering in a small way. I mean, I'm nowhere a match to Dr. Abdul Kalam, but this is one of the inspiration that I got from Dr. Kalam to help the next generation, right? What we call it in classical Western terms as paying forward, So now I'm happy that I have opened my account with one more college now. So that's an extraordinary what to say, extraordinary item of interest in my personal view. Of course, I once also did a big orientation session with the NIT Trichy. About 900 odd students had just come from school to college, and then they wanted me to talk to them about how do you switch from a school to a campus or a school to a college kind of an environment. So my interludes with students have been going on for almost now 6 to 7 years. Coming to talk about my journey in management. So I'm going to reveal some startling facts about my journey into management. I tried clearing CAT 3 times, so I didn't get, So 2 attempts I could make, and then the third attempt, is also, I would consider it as not a straightforward CAT entry, but this is more like what we call it as a backdoor entry to IIMs, right? So way back in 2003, we had this. Even now, IIMB runs this program. It is now formally, IIM now no more offers a PG diploma. It's all MBAs. Yeah. Now they offer everything is an MBA. So this MBA program is meant for software professionals. That's where I got excited, and then went through the selection process, and then got into IIMB. That's how my formal, entry into management began. But truly, it changed my perspective. I am a technocrat at the heart, but for any cake, unless there is a topping, the cake doesn't look good. So the topping, in my view, is management. The core for me is technocrat. Being a technocrat. It doesn't mean all of you have to be like that. Figure out what your core is and what your topping is. Right? Both are important. You can't have the topping alone. You know what will be the consequences, because it is too much of cream and cheese, right? It's going to have a serious impact on your health. Neither you can have only the core, it doesn't look attractive. So that's how I designed my career. For me, my career, the core is being a technologist at the heart, and the cream layer or the top is management, right? That's how I view my career. Coming to talk about my entry into analytics, was that the question, Nishant, or am I missing any portion of your question?
Yes, sir. Like how being a part of IIMB and your journey in MBA helped you get into the field of analytics was my question.
Sure. Okay, that's it's again essentially because of the I'll tell you, the revolution that the industry has been going through, right? Way back in the 90s, when you look at it, enterprises started implementing what is known as enterprise resource planning. These are integrated systems which can automate your entire business process, right? Right from planning, making, delivering to sales and marketing, right? Broad functions of an enterprise, you could integrate with enterprise resource planning. So what happened is, from a physically intensive transactional environment, we started gradually moving into a digital transaction-based environment. I have worked in factories where we used to do goods receipt in a manual slip. To my stores, the inward inventory, the inventory stores, I'll be writing a goods receipt slip, and then they will send me the goods to my shop floor so that I can work on it, right? Those were digitized thanks to enterprise resource planning. Now, what has happened is you have started gathering your transaction data in your systems. Now, of course, to implement a solid transactional system like enterprise resource planning, you also got to have a solid master data in your entity or in your organization. So both master data and transactional data started getting digitized thanks to the ERP wave. Then came this so-called descriptive analytics wave. Then people said, hey, I have so much data. Can I write some simple reports? We used to call them as flat reports. Just it'll tell what happened in the past. It'll just tell you what happened in the past, right? It's also called as descriptive analytics. That's how it started. Then people were thinking, hey, but for a decision maker, most of the time, yes, historical data is important, but he's always taking a decision, keeping future in mind and affecting future, because your decisions, you're all going to be decision makers. Your decisions are, to a large extent, the data is based on history, but your decision is going to impact your future. Now, given this, then they started questioning, how can I predict my future? So of course, astrologists were doing in some way, that profession, but data was not there, right? It is the astrologer's intuition, probably, it's a different field altogether. Then came this predictive analytics field. Now they were, equipped with historical data and other environmental data, maybe, how my industry ecosystem or how my ecosystem is moving, and then grabbing some macroeconomic indicators. Can I now make a prediction of how my business will look like, how my demand will look like? Can I forecast my demand? Can I forecast my capacity? Can I forecast the number of meals that will be ordered today, being a weekend? These are the things today the Zomatos and the Swiggies of the world are doing, right? Because unless you predict things, unless you predict things with certain level of confidence, you're not going to be in control of your enterprise. You're not going to be in control of your organization. Just looking at history is, I call it as a lagging indicator, right? Yes, it will give you some idea, but how are you preparing yourself for future? That's how from a physical world to a digital world through ERP, and then through descriptive analytics, we have now moved to predictive analytics. Then the next one that is going to come is what is known as from predictive, you will be moving to prescriptive analytics, where algorithms will recommend a specific decision itself. A decision maker is always confronted with multitude of alternatives, and each alternative has an outcome with certain probability. Sorry, I'm talking like an analytic person today. Pardon me, because I'm heavily influenced by analytics more than management, right? So there is a probabilistic outcome for each alternative, right? Now, how do you choose which alternative with what level of confidence? That today algorithms can take over and then give you that specific recommendation also. So you move, I call this as analytics continuum. You can Google it. Gartner talks about the analytics continuum, right? So you move from descriptive analytics to predictive analytics to prescriptive analytics. That's how the continuum goes. So you may ask me then, hey, okay, great, this is a great funda, but why did you join? That would be your question, right? This is where today, we can maximize the value for our enterprises. The value maximization, the so-called value maximization, happens by harnessing the power of data. Yes, all business processes are there. There are strategic decisions we have to take. There are operational decisions we have to take. There are tactical decisions we have to take. All said and done, end of the day, whether it is strategic decisions or operational decisions, analytics is going to be a powerful component for a decision maker. It will either assist or augment or even automate decision making going forward. That's where the power of data is there. That's where my excitement also lies. That's why I worked on it in a very careful way. 2016, if I jog my memory back, way back in 2016. I was kind of eyeing on this whole AI/ML thing, right? I was, very keen. How do I get into this field? I am as such a supply chain guy. I have been in factories, and then I have implemented SAP for about 10 years or so. So to a large extent, I'm a more like a supply chain and a ERP guy. Then this itch, as they call, right, came to me. What is this AI/ML? We need to somehow find out and see how we can add value to myself and to my organization, right? That's how this each started. Then I started doing a couple of courses in edX and then through Coursera. So the famous machine learning course by Andrew Ng was my first course that I did. Purely because it aligns with my passion. I won't say, hey, everybody jump into analytics, right? No, you have to assess what your passion is, what are your strengths. I am fundamentally a very strong mathematics guy. Thanks to some of the strong foundation that I got from my teachers in my school, right? They, in fact, from a state of aversion to mathematics, I started enjoying doing mathematics. That is the power of a master or a sensei or a teacher, right? Who can create that fire in you, the passion in you to see, something which you were averse to. That's what they did to me. So I'm grateful to them, right? They played a crucial role. Otherwise, probably, I wouldn't have even gotten so deep into mathematics or analytics field. So from a state of aversion to coming to a state of neutrality, I have developed passion to mathematics also. Then I looked at my core competencies and then said, hey, you have passion in mathematics. You are an ERP guy. Can you look at supply chain analytics? That's the next adjacency to whatever I had, right? This is something all of you will have to think about. What are your core competencies? This being CK Prahalad series, he spoke about core competence, right? What are your core competencies? If you want to switch, what are your adjacencies? That is something you need to look at. For me, the natural adjacency was, my core competency was mathematics, ERP, and then supply chain. I said, okay, let me now move to supply chain analytics. That's how I started developing my skills in supply chain analytics. In fact, the biggest catalyst that came to me was I also did this MicroMasters program from MIT, which is MicroMasters in supply chain. It is a 5-module program. It is in edX. I would, if you are passionate about supply chain, please go ahead and do. It's an enormously valuable course, and the course intensity is just unbelievable. It really gave me very solid foundation in supply chain and in core mathematics. Understanding the power of statistical distributions and how do you apply to supply chain. Those are some big impact I had. Of course, it is a 5-module program. Just go ahead and see. Now, having done this course from MITx and then from Coursera, the beauty with Intel is you can apply for jobs within Intel itself. Any job that opens up, it is open for external candidates and for internal candidates, and the hiring process is the same. There is, that is the level of meritocracy in this company, right? So I applied and then got a role in supply chain analytics. So that's how I, got into analytics. And then at one point, our organization needed AI center of excellence. And given my exposure to supply chain and big data and analytics, I was asked to lead the AI center of excellence, which now caters to supply chain, product development, sales and marketing, all the verticals we provide AI capabilities. That in a nutshell is my journey from management to analytics.
That was a deep dive into the analytics field, sir. Thank you for sharing your experiences with us. So moving on to the question, AI in movies and AI in real world. Do you find the gap widening or narrowing? Given no one knows the real strength of artificial intelligence, why is it given so much importance these days?
See, sometimes, AI in movies is portrayed as if AI is a villain, right? It is out to conquer the planet and take over human beings. We saw this in the Ender the Robo, right? With evil intentions or whatever. Right? That's not the case. It is amplified and magnified so that there is a climatic, cinematic content in it, right? But AI, if you look at it, like I mentioned earlier, it will, There are areas where it can replace, there are areas where it can replace. The simplest mantra is if it is something automatable, then automation is the first step that you do. And if you can automate the automation, AI is the option. So there are certain jobs which can be not fully replaced, but can be augmented. I always look at AI as a complementary tool where human beings and AI will coexist. So yeah, I was asked to talk about AI for social good in the world economic confluence on sustainability or something like that in December 2020. So this is the pitch I made there, right? That we don't need to be afraid of AI. AI and human beings will coexist. Why? Because today, emotions, creativity, uh, emotions is a broad range, AI machine cannot express anger, love, empathy, these things cannot be expressed by a machine. Whereas it is highly, it can be highly intelligent. It can learn, it can reason, it can diagnose, it can, recommend. These things today machines, we know very well they can do. But the softer aspects of a human being cannot be replicated at this point, right? There are some, again, there are some foretellers who say maybe in 5 decades, you will have a like an Environ type of a robo, right? Which can even have emotions. They are forecasting in 5 decades. I don't really know. But in my view, AI and human beings will coexist. AI will help in assisting decision making, augmenting decision making, and in automating decision making. That's how I view a paradigm where there will be a human AI coexistence, right? In fact, we are envisioning some factories where AI will, robots will do some steps of the operation, where the few other steps will be done by the human beings, right? That's how we look at the future of the shop floor, the future of the factory itself. That's how I would put it as a reasonable guess. But I don't think, it is going to completely supplant human beings or, nothing like that.
Thank you, sir. We totally agree to your point, and no doubt why AI is being the main driver of the technology. So we being in the first year of MBA are very passionate about analytics and the wonders this field is doing in the cross-functional domains of management. So can you share with us one such experience where you were fascinated with the power of analytics in having transformational capabilities?
In fact, thank you, Ambika. That's an excellent question. Analytics itself, if you do it in silos, it's not really powerful. You know, I must be able to integrate. I must be able to integrate and then get insights. You know, that's why we call it as insights. Insights is like, you open a bag of chocolates and you see something totally unexpected, right? Chocolate, totally unexpected chocolate, like Forrest Gump says, right? Life is like a box of chocolates. You don't know what you're going to get. That is insight. When you are not prepared, but you get it, that is insight. Aha moments, as we say in the industry, right? We never expected it, but your data will reveal that. That cannot happen if you do it in silos. Just if I take only, say, for example, logistic data alone, I cannot figure out the insights from that, right? I cannot glean insights. I can get information, but I cannot get insights. To get insights, I have to combine data. I have to combine, say, logistics data with finance data, logistics data with this, with the say production or sales data to get a complete, to get powerful insights. What will happen if I do this in, sales? How what will be the impact to my logistics part of my supply chain? Or say, for example, if I do a promotion or a discount today, in my, say in my website, how my demand will change. How, that forecasting I must be able to do. If my demand is going to change, how do I enable my distribution network? How do I enable my cash flow? How do I ensure that my production is ready to tackle that increase in demand? All of this, look at it, it is again an integrated approach. Insights will come only when you integrate data. Otherwise, it will be merely information. That's why analytics is all about getting insights. And for getting insights, you've got to integrate data. That's how I view the field.
Thank you so much, sir. We being in the first year and learning about your experience does fascinate us even more. So the next question I have for you is, AI though has a very wider scope, as you briefly explained it to all of us. The technology and the area have been changing very rampantly in the recent years. It can be softwares or methodologies or other various aspects. No one wants to know the technology, but they want AI to be offered as a self-service in which Intel is a leader. Can you help us understand it even better, sir?
Sure. See, this is a continuum, right? Any technology, if you look at it, it goes through its phases. I don't know if you have read James Champy's S curve. He talks about organizational, growth. He has a beautiful model. If I go back to my IIM class, my prof taught me about James Champy, right? He speaks about this S curve and the need to reinvent before you decline. So the S curve is all about learn, grow, and then mature. Then you have a growth phase, then maturity, and decline, right? That's how the S curve of James Champy goes. Typically, individuals go through that. Organizations go through that because organization is nothing but sum of individuals. That's it. That is my formula, right? Organization is nothing but sum of individuals. So anything that can happen to an individual will happen to an organization. So very easily you can, draw parallels, right? So where is my organization? Very easily, anything that you apply to a human being, you can check for an organization as well. So coming back to this question of this maturity curve, right? So same thing is applicable to technology also. So technology also in its early phases is typically, curated and given like, like a five-star cuisine, very carefully curated or carefully prepared and then given, and you charge a premium for that. Then the next level of technology is it gets into a darshini form where, you walk into a Shanti Sagar, you order a masala dosa, you get it in 5 minutes or 10 minutes and you're done with it, have a coffee and then come out, right? This is the second stage of technology, and the third stage is self-service. Where to some extent Darshini is also a self-service. So maybe I'll put the interim level as a Chalukya type of one, right? Where you walk in and then order a food and then you get it, but it's not a five-star one. You order and then get it. Then you get into a Darshini model where it's just self-service. Same thing happens. Technology gradually gets more and more, as it proliferates. This proliferation cannot happen unless it becomes self-service, because only when it is self-service, adoption increases. As long as, if I am like a five-star chef and then I will say, hey, I will charge a bomb for you, but I will, carefully curate and give you this, very few takers will be there. That's the important thing in any field in technology, right? Look at for example TVs. Sony, for example, used to charge a very high premium, right? Even today they charge. But look at the TV industry, right? Today, it's almost like a commodity. We negotiate with an Adishwar or any TV seller on price. Moment you discuss something on price, it has become a commodity. Moment you discuss on the values and features, it is still commanding, it's no more, it's not a commodity, right? So, this is how today TV, otherwise the LED, all those TVs, used to be very jazzy. Today it's a common item, right? Let's take the other thing. AC, the air conditioning feature in a car, way back in 2000, when cars came, people used to ask, hey, is it air conditioned? Does it have AC? Today, will you ask? It's taken for granted. AC in a car is taken for granted, right? And it is an expected feature. It is no more a differentiating feature. It is a functional feature. Same way technology also, if it has to proliferate, it has to be a self-service. It cannot be a carefully curated Taj type of a chef offered food. It has to be a Darshini food. Then only proliferation will happen.
Thank you for
Does it?
Yes, sir. Thank you for encapsulating all these aspects of AI in a very beautiful way. So the next question is, you have been a member of CII's AI Digital and Robotics Forum. Can you brief us how this forum is helping promote AI among the industries?
Sure. Again, I had, I would say about 5-6 interactions with the industry leaders through this digital and robotics forum. Again, like-minded people like me, we all fundamentally wanted to see how we can take AI to this self-service form, right? Because today it is still being, curated and given by the five-star chefs. So we were thinking about how we can take it to small and medium business enterprises. They can't afford to have expensive data scientists like me or my team. And how can they also get themselves into this AI journey, right? So this is one of the core area we were essentially looking at today. Thanks to the drastic progress that is happening in the AI field, if you look at it, there are cloud platforms. I will not name them. You know very well these cloud platforms, right? Essentially, three big players, the top three, as we say, right? Amazon, Microsoft, and Google. The top three players in the cloud. They have AI offerings. Whether it is a SageMaker or an Azure ML or the Google's AI offerings, you have pretty much all these algorithms as a pay-per-view service. I can consume per API call. I can pay per API call. For example, I have to do natural language processing of certain text in my enterprise. Per call to the API, I can pay few cents, or per word, whatever I want to, for example, translate, I can pay to these companies and then get it. So this area, now, if you look at it, it is very, very, in a very exactly positioned for small and medium enterprises, right? They don't have to put a huge capital in terms of infrastructure, in terms of talent. All they need to do is consume these services, right? Sentiment analysis today, you don't need to, write it today. You have, Amazon offers a vanilla service on sentiment analysis. I'm sure all other, even Azure ML and Google also has it. And if I want to do, say, natural language processing, I can just call a Google API and then get to a large extent, I can do entity extraction. I can figure out I can do sentiment analysis. All this can be possible with the simple API calls. So what does it mean is for small and medium enterprises today, it is now becoming less and less capital intensive, less and less talent intensive, because they can consume these services with very less investment, right? And they can keep scaling it. They can increase their investment based on their need. They don't need to upfront commit huge money in this, right? So this is one initiative we were looking at, how to take AI to small and medium business enterprises so that they also embrace this journey, not because others are doing, but to truly tap value from the power of AI with less capital investment and with less operational expenses.
Thank you, sir. Hearing this seems like it will definitely create a strong AI ecosystem in India and surely enhance the capabilities by skilling the workforce for the future. Well, sir, adding to the previous question, as you explained now, there are few limitations to implementation of AI, right? So one among those is the high implementation costs associated and mental barriers that they have in realizing that AI will transform their company in few years. So my question is, what are the critical steps followed to make the company realize it?
So that's exactly what I do day in and day out, right? There are, let's talk about, dissect this question into multiple small pieces there so that we can tackle it, right? Implementation cost. Let's look at the implementation cost, or even for, let me start from the mental barrier part. So traditionally, when we take an IT application, our mindset is when I install, say, a Zoom or a Microsoft Office suite, I expect it to perform from the moment I install, isn't it?
Yes.
Are you all with me? So that's perfectly well. Whereas when you look at an AI algorithm, what happens is it also learns in production. It also learns from the environment, right? The Google, that search that we all used 10 years ago, I don't know when Google came, was it in 2003 or I don't exactly remember. So let's take 10 years ago, right? The search results of Google 10 years ago versus the search results of Google today is far, far higher. Why? Because the algorithm continues to learn. It continues to learn and evolve, right? So the search results are far more powerful because they are learning. Algorithms, AI algorithms specifically, are like children. They continue to learn even in production, unlike IT applications, right? IT applications don't learn. They are just rule bound. I put bunch of if else conditions or bunch of business rules and then implement an IT app. It will perform, but it will never evolve. Now, this is where the mindset or the mind shift has to happen, right? Now, it is when you cannot expect an AI application to perform like a vanilla IT application. You should be in a position to keep retraining the algorithm. It's very, very important. If your data goes out of whack, your algorithms predictions will go out of whack. So you must have techniques by which you monitor the performance of an algorithm and then bring in the right level of feedback loop. It's essentially an adaptive feedback loop. So you retrain the algorithm so that it again tunes itself to the data and then starts performing according to your expectations. Because business decisions, business processes do change. There is always volatility and variation in business processes, right? Never you can, say supplier lead time is 3 days. Never you can say Zomato will bring your morning masala dosa in 26 minutes. Though they may say, they will always say, if you are late, we will give you something free, because of the variability in real world, right? The whole, everything it's very, very difficult to model problems as deterministic because the real world, there are many distributions that are happening in place, right? Hence, what happens is data will go out of whack. Even though the business process is same, your data will go out of whack. When the data goes out of whack, algorithms will go out of whack. So you got to retrain and then again bring it back. So this is where people, the mindset or mind shift has to happen, right? They are not IT applications. They are things that continue to evolve in production. You must be tolerant about it. You must have mechanisms by which you will keep retraining and then using it. You cannot just say, oh, now my algorithm is broken. No, your data is broken. That's why the algorithm is not able to garbage in, garbage out, as we say, right? So retraining is an important aspect. And then the mindset you need to have is your accuracy, whatever. For example, you can have different metrics depending on the nature of your algorithm, could be varying. It will not be as predictable as what we see with the Microsoft Teams or with the Zoom, right? It will be variable. It will be varying within a certain band. What is your tolerable band for you to do your business? That is something you need to ask. You cannot come with a point estimate saying that I want my forecast or I want my classifier to operate at this accuracy. You will not be able to fix a specific point. It has to be a range. Is that range tolerable to your business? Is something, the decision makers have to now start tuning themselves. These are few things that they need to understand. I don't know why people say implementation cost is higher. Probably due to this, right? The retraining costs and even development costs are fairly high because you have to hire expensive folks like me and then set up a center of competence, right? So it is fairly expensive. Like I told you, right? Everything starts at a Taj level and then gradually it will come to a Darshini level.
Yes, I completely agree with your statement. We all just have a general idea about these issues, but now we have a much better understanding of it. With that being said, my next question for you is adaptation of AI among Indian industries is still considered to be in a very nascent stage. Can you brief us on your opinion on the same? And is the scenario changing? And if yes, will it hamper the job opportunities in the coming future?
It is changing. It's a great question since I'm a part of the NASSCOM AI Parivartaks, and also I got the unique opportunity to be invited by Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology last week as to provide inputs on the national program on artificial intelligence. So when I look at it, I have not seen any mega metrics or something on, what is the adoption level of AI in India versus other countries. I'm very sorry, I don't have any metrics around this. But when I look at the startup ecosystem, when I look at the way government is seriously pursuing AI, I think the best is yet to come. The best is in front of us and it is yet to come. The seriousness with which MeitY, Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology worked with the industry leaders like me was just incredible. I was blown away by the openness and the transparency with which they wanted our inputs. And they were absolutely open to look at what changes they wanted to do, right? $1 billion government is investing in the national program on artificial intelligence. $1 billion. That is the level of investment they are doing, right? Hence, they want to be super clear on where to invest, how many, how to create centers of excellence across the country. What are the AI for all projects that they want to invest in? So they are absolutely open for such inputs. So if you look at it top down or from a policy perspective and from an enabling perspective, the government of India is very serious about it. The AI mission of India is going to be, is a very strong initiative, and the government is very seriously pursuing it. As a stakeholder, I could really feel it in my last week discussion with in this forum, right? And when I look at the startup ecosystem, for example, it's incredible the way in which the startup ecosystem today in India has embraced AI is just unbelievable. I was, again, same thing happened last week. I wanted to, I had a unique opportunity to interact with one of the supply chain startups, which is implementing AI-based techniques for demand forecasting and then sales and operations planning, right? We were, it was quite heartening to see the way these startups are embracing AI-based techniques, and more startups I see, which are becoming are having a crucial component in their product offering. AI as one of their crucial component, right? So that's how I view it. Unfortunately, I don't know, is there a global ranking of AI adoption across the world? Maybe I'll find out. Probably you've given me a nice homework. I'll do that. But I unfortunately I don't have. But when I look at both top down and bottoms up, in terms of the seriousness with which government is pursuing AI policies and then promoting AI in our nation with the right investments. And when I look at the startup ecosystem, I think the best is really, really yet to come in AI.
So thank you so much, sir, for giving this picture on the relentless change in the AI industry. So moving on to the next question. Can you brief us on AI Parivartaks, which you currently head and which is a NASSCOM-led initiative for bringing passionate individuals together? So how can we be a part of the same?
Oh, awesome. I was about to do a marketing pitch for that, but you already asked me. AI Parivartaks is a pro bono initiative that we, me and then about 10 plus odd industry leaders, we have all come together to essentially support NASSCOM's initiative in this area, right? NASSCOM has got this Karnataka Center of Excellence for AI, and AI Parivartaks is sponsored by KCOE, as we call Karnataka AI COE, and NASSCOM. And the charter of AI Parivartaks is threefold. The first strategic objective we have is how do we enable the ecosystem? The ecosystem here is students like you, mid-career professionals. How do we enable them? How do we help them? Especially students, how do we help them to be, industry ready, in terms of the AI skills, right? How do we make them industry ready for AI skills? And mid-career professionals, everybody, truly, I think everybody should think about it, because as Professor Andrew Yang says, right, AI is the new electricity. So everybody should be knowing how to use it at least. Otherwise, we'll be in dark. So we need to know, right? So mid-career professionals, my uncle, grandma, everybody is asking about AI, right? So I think we all need to know what is AI and how do we coexist with AI. And if you are so passionate about it, how do you embrace AI and then generate value for yourself and for the organization, right? So this is one of the strategic objectives of AI Parivartaks. The second is NASSCOM and NASSCOM and NASSCOM's AI COE commits quite a lot of projects. Like currently we are running a hackathon with the government of Telangana. The Telangana government, we are running a hackathon. So they would need mentors, industry mentors who can design or identify a good problem statement, the right data set, and then run the hackathon and evaluate the results. So that is one area. The second area, our second strategic objective of AI Parivartaks is all about how do we coach, mentor, and support NASSCOM's AI initiatives or AI projects, as well as NASSCOM's uh, uh, projects itself. How do we support them, coach them with our technical talent? That is the second thing. The third is, um, yeah, the third is all about how do we bring to light various AI projects that are happening across the country. These are AI for social good. Believe it or not, government of Tamil Nadu has done a wonderful project, which is, there are, cataract is a major problem amongst our senior citizens, right? So how do you identify the early stages of cataract? So today, somebody has to go to a hospital and then do, they have to, go through the hospital procedure and then, identify whether they have cataract or not. Whereas the government of Tamil Nadu has done a wonderful, this I call it as AI for India, right? Very, very cost-effective solution they have implemented is they have with the mobile phone, the public health workers, when they go to the villages and when they interact with the rural community, if somebody is having difficulty in the vision, they can take a picture of the retina of that individual, and then using applying AI techniques, you can figure out whether the person has cataract or not. This is a very simple, cost-effective solution, right? These are the solutions we want to scale it across India, right? So what has happened in government of Tamil Nadu, we want to take it to the entire nation. How many are even aware that this has been done in a way, such a cost-effective way by government of Tamil Nadu? So we want to bring to light such powerful success stories where AI has been implemented in India's way, right? That's why my mentor used to say that it is not that we have to learn AI, but AI has to learn a lot from India. That's what he used to say, right? A very powerful quote. I still believe that because our use cases are very unique. Our diversity is just phenomenal. Think about the language complexity of India, right? Can you comfortably go to Bhubaneswar and talk in Kannada or in Hindi? Unless you know Odia, you will not be able to comfortably do, right? Natural language processing comes very comfortably. How many of us can translate between Punjabi and Odia? I don't know. How many, can you do? So can a Punjabi comfortably visit Odia? Maybe they'll be a little bit worried, right? Hey, I have a language barrier. And these things, I call it as a friction in the economy, right? The friction in the economy happens, or the hesitation to, and even travel to some extent happens because of language barriers, right? Transactions are minimized. To some extent, there is an impact on transactions due to language barriers. AI can smoothen them, and India offers a rich variety, right, of the combinations, the powerful combinations, right? Punjabi to Odia is one famous example my mentor used to keep saying. So, these are the opportunities that India has. This is where AI can learn from India, the variety that we offer, right? This is the other area, the third strategic objective of AI Parivartaks, which is all about bringing to light these success stories that are happening in pockets and then bringing them, through giving them a broader visibility through India AI portal. I would urge all of you to just go take a look at India AI portal of NASSCOM, right? That's where, we want to publish these success stories and then give them a moment, give them an impetus so that other state governments, other private sectors or NGOs can pick up those ideas and then adopt. So how, as students, you can participate? In fact, we are working with some of the volunteers from Indian Institute of Foreign Trade because, we actually conducted a webinar on how students, students can think about moving to AI. This is one session we did for college students a couple of months ago. So Indian Institute of Foreign Trade, some of them were very keen. So we are working with one such volunteer who is helping us in visualization, right? visualization of data, this person is helping us. So do let us know, what are your strengths, that you can bring to the party. What is the value you can bring to the party? Certainly, we are very open to it. In fact, we are looking at a very professional membership format itself, where there'll be a tiered membership for students by AI Parivartaks we are going to offer, and then membership for mid-career professionals, and then and then membership for practitioners, AI practitioners. This is something that is going to come. Of course, there'll be a nominal fee, but we are going to offer mentorship. We will be offering guidance in certification. We'll be offering guidance in career development and job opportunities. These are few things we are dreaming high, but yet to fully take shape. But this is how we are gradually looking at how we will take AI Parivartaks to the next level. Again, in very early stages. But if you have, if you can bring value in some of these areas, it could be data visualization, it could be analytics, it could be even program management, right? Project management, program management. You could be even a business analyst. Can you work with them? Say, I have a raw idea of an opportunity. Can you work with that business, or can you work with that group? It could be some portion of the sector of society with whom you can work and formulate a problem and convert it to an AI problem and tell us, hey, this is the problem, this is how it looks, this can be solved using AI. Because, as students and management graduates, you can contribute in a wide spectrum of areas. These are the broad areas where you can contribute. Eventually, once we come up with membership, do, think about it and see.
Thank you, sir. This will definitely guide all the students who aspire to be part of this. And also, we are very proud to see that you have completed various courses from MIT, Stanford, and currently you're pursuing degree at Georgia Institute of Technology, right? So what is your suggestions to all the youngsters present here on the question of, is working after MBA better? Or should we pursue higher studies like MS or PhD just to keep in pace with the industry?
Ma'am, one thing I will give you one sutra. Leaders have to be learners. Okay. Stick it like a poster in your cube, or ma'am can have it in her office. So leaders have to be learners. That's very, very important. I read a book called Ikigai, a couple of months ago. I'm sure you would have all come across this book. Here, it's a beautiful book. It moved me literally. It said, if you want to lead a life of purpose, you need to find out, what are you good at? What are you good at? I went deep within myself, and then I found I am a learner and I am a teacher. These are the two core competencies that came out of me. After my deep introspection, what I found was I am a learner and I am a teacher. So then you may ask, hey, why are you in Intel? No. See, every job, the prism with which you look can be different, right? The prism with which you look can be very, very different. I can be a teacher and I can run my department like a business. I can be a business professional and I can run my business like like an academics. It's all the mindset or the frame or the prism with which you see the world, right? So this came as my core competency. That's why I learned like crazy. There is never a dull moment in my day. I won't waste even a single minute. Even now, I am doing, I'm actually taking a break. I didn't do my summer courses in Georgia Tech. I'm taking a break. That doesn't mean, I'm not doing, right? I have enrolled for a course in Coursera. It is, it is from University of Michigan, which I am doing, right? I'm doing my assignments. I have to, I am still debugging one core interesting problem for the past 2-3 days. That's what excites me. That's what keeps me awake, right? That's where, that is my Ikigai, Find out what your Ikigai is. It may not be like Gopalan, right? It need not be, and it should not be. Let us not create replicas here, right? Everybody has been sent here for a specific purpose. All of you are endowed with certain potential, right? Go discover that. What I am sharing is just my journey, but don't replicate it. This is what really triggered me, right? If you are a learner and a teacher, then pursue it by all means. So for me, in fact, these courses, whatever I have done is still small. I'm already thinking about what, what more courses I have to do after my Georgia Tech, right? So that's how I already I'm talking to one of the IITs for my PhD. So my wife tells me you are crazy, but that's my ikigai, that's my nature. That's how I am wired. So you need to find out what your ikigai is. Live according to that. Go discover it, because everybody has been sent here with certain, purpose. Go find that purpose, accomplish that purpose.
Thank you so much, sir. And speaking of higher studies, I have a major question for you. Many of the students currently attending this forum are postgraduate students who are mainly from non-CS background, but have very high interest in becoming a part of the analytical workforce. Sir, if a student has 1 or 2 years to prepare for the same, what would your suggestion be to those students?
First and foremost, since because it's exciting, don't jump into it. Are you really ready for it? That's something, you have to find out. What is your ikigai? Go find that out. And then, if it is aligning with you, then you must pursue. If the answer deep from the heart comes, says, yes, analytics is the field I want to pursue. By the way, I am not a CS guy. I am a mechanical engineer. So, it is possible, right? It is not that it is not possible. It is possible, because it's just a question of, number of hours you sit and work on it, right? Like Elon Musk says, if everybody works 8 hours, I will work 16 hours, I will double, my growth, in a very, very short time. One of my vice president long ago told me, between an expert and you, Gopalan, whoever is starting that field, the difference is, he always used to say, it is only 1.5 years. He will always say, no, but the so-called expert and you, the gap is only 1.5 years. So you can catch up. So that's how you should look at it. Double up. Once you decide that, yes, analytics is your inner call, analytics is the area where you can make an impact, then double up. Don't give up. Start from right away. And then start looking at doing, like I told you, right? The adjacencies, start from adjacencies. You could start from business analytics. You don't need to be a data scientist coding in Python or R or whatever, right? Not needed. You can start with business analytics. How can you bring analytics in marketing? How can you bring analytics in finance? How can you bring analytics in supply chain? You could look at that area. And then, in fact, the way business analysts today can play a vital role, management graduates can play a vital role, is talking to business in their business terms, because today data scientists do not speak the language of a marketing professional. A data scientist cannot understand to a large extent the finance domain, the marketing domain, the supply chain domain. That's where business analysts like you, business graduates like you play a very vital role. You can be the bridge between business and a core data science team like mine, right? You are the one who can talk to the business, talk to them in their language, understand their business problems, and translate to AI problems. This is where you could, this is your adjacency actually. This is how you can start making a gentle shift into this field. And based on your interest, if you are super excited and you still wanted to go deeply technical, then you can pursue like what I'm doing, right? A master's in AI from Georgia Tech, or anything that you can do as a specialization. Or in fact, Georgia Tech itself is offering masters in analytics. You can do a specialized degree. It is all depends on your inner calling. But the thing is, you have potential to pivot into analytics. You have that formal exposure. Your curriculum, I am assuming, is offering these adjacencies. So start picking up, do those electives or do those additional courses wherever they may be coming from, right? Whether it is, by the way, Indian School of Business offers an advanced management program on business analytics. You could look at that. There are plenty of business analytics courses being offered by the edX platform and Coursera. Sign up for that, right? Start pivoting gradually, once you know that this is your passion. And then you can, based on your interest, you can go deeper or broad.
Mr. Gopalan, we value your time. Can we take 5 more minutes? I think.
Oh, absolutely. We started late, so I am, I am accountable to continue for some more time.
Like they have, I think, 1 or 2 more questions.
Oh, yeah. We can go. I have time till 11.
Yes. Thank you, students. You can go ahead with the question.
Yes, sir.
Thank you for sharing experience.
Sorry.
Well, thank you for sharing.
Oh, no. Yeah.
So, sir, I have just one last question for you, and I think we can conclude the session with that. Before I ask my last question, I would like to apologize to all the audience here who were excited to ask the question,
They
but
can ask if they want.
we'll be running short of time, so that's the only
Oh, I
constraint.
see. Okay. I can
So-
hang around for a few more minutes and then address some of those questions.
You can open up, Nishant. Maybe we can open up for another 5-10 minutes for
Yeah, I'm perfectly
the
okay.
audience.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. Okay,
Just give me a minute. I'll get some water and come back.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes.
Yes, yes.
Yes, I'm back.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. So guys, now the session is open for the Q&A. I request the participants to post the questions in chat box.
So by the time they ask the question through chat
Sure.
box, I have one question for you. So I have a personal interest in business analytics as well as supply chain. So as in your profile, it said you are responsible for delivering transformational AI capabilities for Intel supply chain, correct, sir? So I just wanted to know how AI helps in the supply chain and what is the development in that?
So if you look at it, the way, in fact, this is one fund I gave in supply chain practitioners council. We had, I think, not the last Friday we had in supply chain practitioners council. I was one of the panel members in that. So if you any system, any system, whether it is supply chain or marketing or finance, any business process or any set of business processes, if you look at it, the way to create them or transform them to an intelligent system is to first figure out what are the sensors you have in that system, because an intelligent system is nothing but a human being, right? A human being is an intelligent system. We are endowed with this panchendriyas, the ability to see, to hear, all the five senses we have, right? The touch and smell, all of this we have. Similarly, if you want to design an intelligent system, you have to have those sensors, which will understand the state of the system. The state you will know only by senses, right? This room is cool, or this room is hot. How will I know? Only by my senses. Okay. So whether it is supply chain or any domain, first you need to know what are the sensors you have. How will you understand the state of the system and which are the sensors you have? Once you know the state of your system, you know what your goal is. What is the goal metric you want to achieve in any business process, right? Now, what actions you will take? You have a state. What actions you will take so that the state will change to the desired goal, desired state. So you will take an action based on the state of the system. This action you are going to take based on your prior knowledge and the goal metric that you have. Now, having taken an action, the system is going to respond. For example, let us say the room is hot. So I'm going to switch on my fan. Now, I might have kept it in step one. That is the action I have taken after sensing from the room the state of the system, right? I've kept it in step one, but still I feel that it is not adequate. The airflow is not adequate. It's not cool enough. This is the feedback I get. This is the feedback I get. Now I increase to step two. Now I am comfortable. This is the learning loop that happens. So this is exactly how you do this is how an intelligent system operates, right? A simple act of switching on the fan, I now deconstructed and showed you how it is an intelligent action, how the learning happens, how the feedback from the learning happens, all of this. This is exactly what you need to do in any domain, whether it is supply chain or marketing or whatever, right? You have to do the same way. Now, looking at supply chain, anywhere if there is uncertainty, wherever there is uncertainty, right, there is room for prediction. Wherever there is uncertainty, there is room for prediction. Very well, supply lead times are uncertain. There is volatility. Now, I won't say, uncertainty can be characterized as a distribution, right? I don't know whether it is a Poisson or a binomial or a normal distribution, but it is some distribution, right? So there is going to be some uncertainty. So can I predict with certain level of confidence? There are statistical techniques today, but there are AI techniques also available. So can I use them to make a prediction? That's how prediction algorithms come into place. Now, let us take the area of, say, network planning. Where do I keep my warehouses? Where do I keep my factory? Where do I keep my distributed warehouse? Where do I keep my central warehouse? All these decisions are called network planning, right? So how do I do that? Today, AI techniques are highly capable of coming up with such optimal algorithms or optimization algorithms by which you can identify the capacity investment that you want to do. Where do you want to locate your factories? Where do you want to locate your warehouses and your distribution centers? All of this today, today we apply AI algorithms. So if you look at it, prediction, reasoning, uh, prescriptive analytics, in all these places, AI techniques are very widely applied.
Thank you so much, sir. I think I have a much better understanding of what I wanted to, look forward in preparing myself for the career.
Absolutely. All the best.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Oh, okay. People are firing on all cylinders. There is a big question. Sir, if we consider ourselves as a LPP problem, what is? Okay, linear programming.
Programming, yes, sir. Linear programming.
So should I read the question for you, sir? Shall I read
Yes,
it?
yeah. Maybe we'll tackle one by one. Yeah, I think he has quickly written an essay, so we will handle one by one.
Yeah, sir. I'll read out the first question. The question goes like this. So if we consider ourselves as an LPP problem, how can we maximize our output and how can we overcome our constraints like a non-IIM MBA guy? What would be our position and how can we get up to that level?
Okay, so I don't know, Shreyas, right? Shreyas.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. It's Shreyas.
Shreyas. Okay, so in optimization, there are two types of constraint. There is a hard constraint and a soft constraint. Okay, I don't know whether Shreyas knows, maybe he can Google and find out. So non-IIM guy, come on, not everybody need to be an IIM guy, right? Why do you, first of all, that is a mental block. It's not a constraint. It's just a mental block. Since because, I happen to go to IIM doesn't mean everybody should go, right? And doesn't mean all IIM guys will be the CEOs of future, nothing like that. You are given an additional boost, but you can gain that through informal education by various means, right? So that is, in my view, is a soft constraint. It's a mental block. First thing is, don't even think like that. IIMs alone is not the only way to career success or whatever. That's my take. For example, so don't even consider it as a constraint. There could be hard constraints. No, for example, if you think, if you want, say, you want to be a great football player like Ronaldo, that will be a hard constraint. Possibly, that may be a hard constraint because already you are 20 plus, and even if you do some serious practice, I don't know when you will get into an European league, right? That's a hard constraint. In my view, that is a hard constraint because we are, maybe, my body is certainly not wired to become like a Ronaldo, right? Because that's a physical constraint. I cannot overcome that. But mental constraints, you can overcome at any time because these are our own creation, right? We can demystify it, we can break it at any time. That's how I view it. So essentially, Shreyas, my view to you is don't even think that you are a non-IIM guy. You should think that you are a management graduate. How will you now, succeed in this world? That's how you should look at it, rather than saying, oh, I am not endowed like an IIM guy, right? So in my view, it's not a constraint itself. It is just a mental block.
I think that answers his question, sir. And as we are running short of time, there'll be just one last question from that three questions. So that will be, what is the difference between business intelligence and artificial intelligence?
As I told you, right, this Gartner continuum, if you see, you start with, descriptive analytics. That is, in olden days, we were calling it as business intelligence. Okay. When you get into predictive and prescriptive analytics, it is artificial intelligence. So essentially, it's a continuum. So BI or business intelligence is just descriptive analytics, flat reports of what happened in history is business intelligence, right? What will happen and what do I suggest to a decision maker? Those are all predictive and prescriptive analytics. That's where AI comes in.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. And to all the ones who wanted to ask more questions, we will be posting sir's LinkedIn profile in the chat box. So I hope with sir's permission, you all can actually text him there and clarify all your doubts.
Sure.
With that, I now request Ambika to propose the vote of thanks.
Yes, we thank you, sir, for taking out time from your busy schedule to interact with us and for providing these beautiful insights. And we are sure that today's session has given us in-depth understanding of the working in the real world and will help us in preparing ourselves for our future and careers. We also thank our Dayanand Sagar College departments, our principal Dr. CPS Prakash, Department of Management Studies, our HOD Dr. K. G. Hemlata ma'am, and all the faculties members for organizing such a wonderful webinar. And last but not the least, such a wonderful participants from various colleges attending this webinar. So thank you everyone and have a great day.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gopalan, for your valuable time and insights. It was a lively interactions today. We had a nice time today. Thank you very much for it.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you
Thank
for
you all
giving
the
me the opportunity.
participants. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you. It was really an eye opener, and I could learn a lot. I fully subscribe to your quote. A leader has to be learner. Definitely, I like that statement.
Thank you, sir.
And also some of the initiatives that you have taken under government of Tamil Nadu, and probably Department of Management Studies would like to be part of AI Parivartan when you give complete shape to it.
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Definitely. So nice of you, sir. Thanks for your valuable time. And I strongly feel that all our students are benefited a lot by today's webinar. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks, madam. Thanks, Dr. K.J. Hemalata, madam.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Principal, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you,
Hello.
every one of you. Yes, someone is speaking. Yeah.
Hello, I am Dr. Ravi Shankar, head of the Chemical Engineering Department.
Yes, Professor.
Yeah,
Yes, Professor.
it was a wonderful talk, madam.
Thank
Though
you,
I
sir.
was able to join after 10:10, it
Yeah.
was really. Though
we
I
have
am
to
from
thank our guest for it, yeah, for making the event very interactive and memorable. Yeah, thank you.
Though I am from chemical engineering, it has given
yes,
me
sir.
a lot of insight about AI and other things. Thank you very much.
Wonderful. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
To everyone, the sir's LinkedIn profile is posted in the chat box, so you can always go through that.
Thank you, VLN Simha, sir. Yeah, all the professors from various colleges have joined and many students from other colleges. Thank you very much for participants. We are coming with one more CK Prahalad series in future. Please join us. Thank you very much. Thank you, students. Yeah.